Welcome back. You are still watching Morning Live. We now get into our second sports bulletin on this Monday. Now, in what was dubbed a super sporting weekend, the result with the biggest consequence was arguably the Proteas' exit from the T20 World Cup. To help us dissect this exit, we've roped in cricket analyst Lunga Kupiso. Good morning, Lunga, and welcome to Sports on Morning Live.
Good morning, Fosiwa, and good morning to the viewers.
Lunga, let's just start with your opinion on the overall performance of the Proteas at this Cricket World Cup. I mean, they are a team that only lost one encounter.
Well, I think overall we can look back at that performance by the team with great pride. Yes, they started on a negative note in losing to Australia, but I think everybody could have anticipated that that first fixture could go either way, purely because of the limited amount of cricket we had played. Yes, Australia also were playing with a side that had limited cricket together as that specific unit. But I think the way we bounced back, just the consistency that we had in being intentional in how we want to play our matches, and I think the way that Temba is led from the front is a consistency and really a character that we must continue to applaud as he grows as a captain in South African cricket. The way that Aiden Markram has batted throughout this tournament, he has shown that he's a versatile player, as one of the writers in South African cricket has put it. The way that Rassie van der Dusen struck the ball is something that should really give us hope in that because of this delay, because of COVID-19, next year when we try again at this T20 World Cup, hopefully we'll have a similar squad, maybe do better in terms of selection of some players, but hopefully with a similar squad we can go on then to build momentum from these 12 fixtures that we have played well as well. And then from a bowling perspective, I think Keshav Maharaj has done well, Shamsi has done well, Kagiso Rabada has done well. So really there are a lot of positives to build up from. Obviously everybody would have wanted South Africa to go to the final and hopefully win it, but I think this is how it has played out and we should look to build now.
Now, you've touched on him slightly in your first response. I want us to delve deeper into Temba Bavuma and his captaincy. I mean, he's one person that has constantly had to prove himself in the Proteas setup, despite his success at franchise level. And he's also captained this Proteas side through a very difficult time. I mean, we were talking about how they only lost to Australia in this T20 World Cup. And of course, we had the issue with the taking in the knee and Quinton de Kock. Overall, what do you make of his captaincy?
I got, people who have gone to school and they've learned big words, they will say astute leadership. And I think when I remember the definition of what astute leadership is, Temba Bavuma comes to mind. Polite, humble. He takes pride in what his team is able to do. He leads from the front. He doesn't shy away from the difficult conversations. And really, I think if we remember South Africa in this World Cup, we will remember that press conference where Queenie decided he's going to miss the game and how Temba handled the media. And it was at that media conference where I feel a lot of people began to give him credit as a leader. Because before that, he's a quiet guy. He keeps to himself. He only speaks when he's being asked something. But at that press conference, a lot of people got to see that actually the reason he's the captain is because he's quite capable to handle some of the difficult conversations. And I think I've once said it before that he will always be, for as long as he is in a Proteas shirt, he will always be under pressure. There will always be a group of people that are calling for his head. And the fact that he's able to go on and perform and still lead the side in the manner that he does, despite all of this noise that's happening around him, is quite remarkable. And it says a lot about him as a player. And he has emerged out of this World Cup as someone that the team has a great deal of respect for. And that's good to see.
Certainly. Let's move away from the captain and let's move into the coach, Mark Boucher. Now, obviously, he went into the World Cup with some positive performances, but we do know that he didn't have the greatest of starts to his tenure. At this point, has he done enough to stay on as the coach and have the country's backing going into the 50 overs World Cup next year? Or do we review his position, also given all of these racial insinuations that have been leveled against him of late?
I think it would be great for Boucher to come back home and just address a lot of the question marks that surround him, just so that, there is some sort of clarity moving on and it also gives peace to the team. Because when there's a lot of ducking and diving, especially from leadership in any environment, whether it's corporate, whether it's in a sporting team, that also causes a lot of confusion and chaos because a lot of people want clarity in terms of whom they led by. So I think it would be good for Boucher perhaps to appear before the SJN hearings. Not that that does a great deal of good work for cricket anyways, but just for him to take a stand and actually make his points clear, just so that everybody knows. In terms of change, I don't think it would be good for us to look into changing now, especially because we've got the World Cup going into next year. So consistency is key. It's a matter of building on from what he has done now, forgetting, or at least just choosing to park aside some of the difficulties and differences that we have had with him in charge. And then let's look to review what happens after the World Cup. But for now, there's enough time. Boucher, speak up. Let us know what your thoughts. Where do you stand with certain things? Stop hiding behind. We're building towards the World Cup, and the focus is on the World Cup. Take a stand. Make it clear. Own up where you need to own up, and then we can move on. And I think if there's one thing that South Africans can be proud of is that as much as we are done wrong, we are quick to understand that we are human at the end of the day. And I think the cricketing world is just, it's desperate to hear what his point of view is. And then we can move on there supporting him. Because if there's one thing that we have done also is support the national side, despite all these question marks and these ugly stories that have been coming out, because we desperately want a South African cricketing team that is successful. So the platform is there, whether he takes it or not, well, only he will be able to tell us because the opportunities are there.
The opportunities certainly are there. Now, as we wrap up just on the Proteas performances at the World Cup, let's talk about this final game against England. I mean, the team really stepped up when they needed to the most, and just unfortunate that despite that victory, it was how we bowed out of the World Cup with our heads held up high.
I think if there's a way that you're going to be kicked out of a World Cup, it would be exactly how it was with the last game that we had. You literally throw everything on the line. You play for your country. You play for that trophy as a group of players. You back yourselves. Play really attacking cricket. A brand of cricket that is attractive. And this is what T20 cricket is all about. It's exciting, but at the same time, it's genuine stroke master play. And you get to see players of great international cricketing quality take on each other. And I think the way the South Africans took the sword to England and they just didn't lie down. It really showed that they wanted to progress. And I think we must really give them credit in that way. Losses are part and parcel of cricketing games. And you will lose some, you will win some. Unfortunately for South Africa, that loss at the beginning just came to bump them. But I think perhaps where this World Cup was lost was in how they chased against Bangladesh, that low-scoring game. And I think just the net run rate there, perhaps if they tried to chase that game a little bit quicker, perhaps we'd be talking a different story now. But I think deserving teams are in the Final Four, and for the love of cricket, we hope that Pakistan goes on to win, because we can't have England win both World Cups. No ways.
Lunga, we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
That is, of course, Lunga Kupiso, cricket analyst, just telling us about the Proteas performance at this T20 World Cup. We do have Netherlands as well as a full tour of India still to come for the Proteas, and we certainly do look forward to that.